Hello, I am back with another session of Listen with Rachel, and I am reading from my new book, Magnificent Midlife, Transform Your Middle Years, Menopause and Beyond. And this book is in 3 parts. The first part is picking apart all of the negative narratives about midlife, aging and menopause, right? Where I look at all of the silliness that we've been taught and that we've come to assume is real, and it isn't. And then part 2 is helping you with an easier menopause transition. So that's all of the stuff that I've learned about menopause since my early menopause diagnosis at 41, which was 15 years ago. And then the part 3 is about building the magnificent next chapter of your dreams. Okay, so now today, I'm going to put my specs on. We're going to talk about the UCurve of Happiness. You know about the UCurve of Happiness? Right. So, this is chapter 3 in the first section, Crisis What Crisis? Unpicking Old Narratives. So this is finding inspiration for changing our beliefs, because we often think of midlife as a crisis and we think of it as being something terrible that we have to kind of get through, and menopause is something that we need to struggle through. And I'm trying to change all of that. Right, so the UCurve of Happiness. Oh yes, so midlife is not a crisis. Midlife is an unravelling. Who said that? Brené Brown, and she's a very clever lady. So, another myth about midlife and aging is that we get more and more unhappy the older we get. We really don't. There's truth in the idea that midlife can be an unhappy time, but specifically which part of midlife? If we assume a low average life expectancy of 80 in the US and Europe at least, and we think of life as having 3 acts, you might consider that midlife is the period from 40 to 60. I sure as hell was unhappy in my early 40s, but now in my mid-50s, life is much brighter, and I wish that for you too. But the idea of the midlife crisis is deeply ingrained in our collective psyche. You only have to turn to Google and type in midlife, and the first thing that comes up is crisis. Of course, it's all downhill from there. Like Brené Brown, I believe that rather than being a crisis, midlife is much more a time of reckoning and re-evaluation. It's when we need to take time to reflect, unpack who we are now, and reconnect with who we are becoming. Big birthdays, as we've seen, can add to this inclination towards introspection in midlife. I believe it's a time when you may feel a desperate pull to live the life you want, not necessarily the one you've ended up with. That's one reason why we often feel so unsure of ourselves in midlife, when we can feel plagued with self-doubt and itchy feet. That reassessment of what we've done with our life so far and pondering where to go next surfaces around a major life reckoning point. Midlife is the ultimate reckoning point for many. I'm here to rebrand it as a magnificent opportunity rather than a crisis. During your midlife unravelling, you can take further solace in the UCurve of Happiness. It's been scientifically proven that we're happiest at the beginnings and ends of our lives, with a big dip in the middle like a letter U. Research shows that 47 is our unhappiest age, the depths of midlife malaise. If you're feeling down in midlife, the UCurve of Happiness is there to bring you back up and pull you forward. Things will, for most of us, get better in the happiness stakes as life goes on. There may be nothing in particular making you unhappy, it's just a natural phase of life. It's the middle that can get us down simply because it's the middle. Feelings of discontent, restlessness, and even sometimes worthlessness are not unexpected. The big birthday soul searching can make it all the worse. We're still tied to those outdated ideas of what we should or shouldn't have achieved by any particular age, forgetting, as we are wont to do, that we all have different lives and are on different trajectories. Comparison is the thief of joy. If I ever get a tattoo, it may well say that. I don't want you to fall into the trap of midlife malaise like I did for a while. There are many steps you can take to make this the most magical time of your life so far. If your 40s are a bit gloomy, there's every chance that around 50 the fog will begin to lift. There are clearly other factors that may prevent that outcome, but all things being equal, that's the normal trajectory of life. The U-curve holds. Sometimes a little knowledge can be so powerful. I wish I'd known about the UCurve of Happiness when I was in the pit of my struggles in the first half of my 40s. How much easier it would have been if I could have stopped beating myself up about feeling bad and embraced this natural transition then. Now that I know about the UCurve, I'm even more excited about the years to come. So that's a little section from Part 1, Crisis What Crisis, Unpicking Old Narratives, all about the UCurve of Happiness. So there you go. You can get my book on my website at magnificentmidlife.com/book. And you can buy the ebook or the audiobook narrated by me in a proper studio, so a bit more professional than sitting here on the sofa. You can get it there, and if you want the paperback, you have to go to Amazon, I'm afraid. But yeah, that's all right, isn't it? Amazon or other online retailers. But the quickest is Amazon. And so go and check out the book. And if you like the idea of the book, check out my podcast. I have I have exactly 90 episodes of incredible interviews with amazing women. I interviewed another woman today for next season starting in January. And these women, I love telling their stories and finding out about what they do and what makes them tick. And, somebody says they love my book so much. Kirsten, thank you. Are you reading my book? Oh my goodness. Thank you. Wow. Oh my goodness. Oh gosh. I can just about see that without my specs on. So thank you very much. Oh, how lovely. Yes. And I'm getting some fabulous reviews for it actually, which is really, really nice. And I said to somebody this morning, because I was a guest on somebody's podcast this morning, which was really fun, on the Thriving Through Menopause podcast, which is brilliant. Go and check that one out as well. And I said that I think this is probably the baby that I didn't have, because I went through early menopause at 41. I was trying for another child, and I didn't get the other child. But I think this is the other baby. Yeah. So there you go. Don't want to get too emotional here on my little live, but so thank you very much for hanging out with me. Yeah, go check out the book, check out the podcast. And if you want to work one-to-one with me, come and check that out as well. Just go to magnificentmidlife.com, have a little nose around there, because you can do one-to-one mentoring with me as well, or you can join my membership, and then we have live mentoring sessions twice a month. So that's another way that you can get to work with me direct. So there you go. It's exciting. Thanks. Bye now.